Anyone outside the auditorium, now I recommend you come in and take a seat because we're here for an hour and a half, so it's going to be a bit. Now, I will mention beforehand that unlike past years, this session will be recorded. So if you need to, you can go back and watch the recording again to get any information that you didn't get the first time. But, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Mr. Dibble.
So, my name is Mike Dibble. I am the program coordinator for the PLTW engineering program at Riverside High School. And this is the information session about our program so that the many 8th graders in the audience and their families can figure out if our program would be a good fit for y'all. Now, I have a little pre-mini assignment at the beginning of this. Take out your phones. I know that's weird for a teacher to be saying that, but please take out your phones and scan that QR code and fill out. It's a quick survey just so that we know who was here and different information about the parents in the audience and the students in the audience. If you're watching from the video, please do this as well. It's a good way to keep track of who was here and who wasn't. Give me a thumbs up when you have done so. And keep the thumb up so I can keep seeing it. Thank you. Alrighty. We will then be moving on. And if you need, I can also bring this up later in the presentation. So, today we'll be talking about the PLTW program. You will see these symbols throughout the presentation. The one on the left, that is the aqua one. That is representative of engineering, all of our engineering classes. While the one on the right, the purple one, represents all of our computer science classes. So if you see either of those throughout this presentation, that is why, and we'll be referencing those a lot. But, welcome. And I'm going to give y'all a little roadmap of the pathway that we're going to go tonight so that I can give you all the information you could possibly ever need to decide if our program would be a good fit. So, first I'm going to talk about the lottery, pretty important topic to go over. And I'm going to go over some good places to find different information and stuff that you can ask me for after the presentation. What our goals as a program are, the amount of success that our program has gotten over the years, the requirements for you to come into the program and stay in the program, a little bit about Riverside as a high school as a whole, how we measure our success, how we reward our success, different features that come with being a part of the program, and then for the last 30 minutes of this, we will have a Q&A with juniors who are currently in the program to answer any of your questions that you may have throughout this presentation. All right, so let's talk about the DPS lottery. Raise a hand if you actually know the dates that the lottery runs. Anyone in here know? Anyone have a guess? Okay, nobody. Happy to tell you this. So, the lottery application period is from the 6th of January to the 31st of January, 5 p.m. Up to that point, you can apply to many different schools. To do this, you log into an online application called SchoolMint. You have to be a legal parent, a parent or legal guardian, and have a valid email address or phone number to create an account. But once you do and you're in there, then you can apply for different programs. Now, even though we are known as the PLTW or engineering program, on this site that is not what we are known as. So I want to make sure that this is clarified now, so when you're scrolling through that and you don't see engineering, this is why. We are listed as the Riverside STEM CTE pathway. That is what we are on that site. So when you go to apply, look for Riverside STEM CTE pathway. The lottery will be conducted after January and in February. So make sure that if you want to apply for this program, or any program in the DPS magnet system, you apply by then. You will be notified on March 1st of the results of the lottery. They will either be emailed or texted to you and posted on the parent dashboard of School Mint. I will also be reaching out to check with you, especially if you have applied and successfully gotten into our program. Now, this seat is binding. This means that once you are assigned there, you have to basically go through a very tough process to go back to your base school. So let's say that you are districted for Northern, but you want to come here. It's a very arduous process to try and go back to Northern. Just something to keep in mind. I also have the number for the Office of Student Assignment. They can answer all the possible questions of anything that goes on with the lottery. So if you need to, I recommend taking a picture of that. You can also email me at any time if you have any questions about the lottery as well. I am also a source to know about this. Alright, now, if you want to be given priority for the RHS engineering program, this means that you are very likely to get into the program. You have to have 3 things about your student to have a very high chance of getting into the program. Number 1, you must live in Riverside's district. Number 2, you have to apply to the lottery. And number 3, you must choose RHS STEM as your top choice. This is a very competitive program. So I'm just going to tell you this right now. If you do not select RHS STEM as your top choice, and maybe for say, take it as your second choice, you are not getting in. We have never let students in who have not put RHS STEM as their top choice in the past 5 years. Now this isn't because we want the most dedicated students, it's just because we have 140 slots that we can give to rising freshmen. Those slots run out. And if you choose this a second, you aren't going to get one of those slots. That's just the truth of the situation. If you aren't in Riverside's district, you will then be up to the lottery to decide whether you get into our program or not. If you are sent into our program, just like all the people who have priority, you will still get communications from me and multiple other sources to allow you to come into the program. If you've never seen it before, this is what Riverside's zone looks like. And if you are within that zone, that means that you have priority to get in through the lottery system. If you are not in that zone, that means that you are districted for a different part of Durham and therefore have to rely on lottery luck to get in. Here's the timeline. I went over a little bit of this, but I'll go over it in more detail. In March to April, you will get an email notification from me. My email is mike_dibble@dpsnc.net. That's where you'll get it from. After that, we will have multiple orientation sessions. These will be held with multiple faculty members to make sure that you understand the expectations of coming to Riverside and make sure that your freshman student is set up to succeed in their first year. In August, we will have our first REPAC meeting. REPAC stands for Riverside Engineering Parent Action Council. It is basically the PTA, but just for our program specific. So it's a good way to get involved with what your students are doing. We will then have a welcome back event. This is held usually the week before school starts. This is for all freshmen at Riverside and gives you an opportunity not only to see Riverside again, but make sure that you are prepped before your first week of school. And then in that September, we have something known as the First Friday Assembly. This is an assembly that I host every single year, which allows our students to not only get into the right mindset, learn about all the extracurriculars that exist throughout our school, but make sure that they are prepared for the expectations of what our program entails. Now, before I move on to documents, does anyone have any questions about the lottery in particular before I move on? No? Oh, yes. That is just engineering. So I will go over this later, but the population of Riverside only contains part of us. But the reason why it's 140 is because each of our classes holds 20 slots, and the freshman course that is taught, there are 7 courses of them. So 7 times 20, 140, that's where that number comes from. Any other questions? All right. You can take pictures of these URLs as well. If you also fill out on that survey, I'm happy to send these to you as well. But here are some wonderful resources to let you know not only a lot about Riverside, but the engineering program as a whole. First, we have the REPAC website. This has our engineering program handbook, which has everything you need to know about all the faculty that are a part of the Riverside engineering program, and multiple other standards and courses that are offered at the engineering program. Now, REPAC is really a way of assisting us. Not only do they help us hold multiple of the events that we hold every single year, but it's a way for you to be involved in your students' education. That's kind of better than the PTA, not gonna lie. You then have RHS's website. This website is available. Has anyone gone to Riverside's website out of curiosity? No? So, on that website is multiple information about the high school itself, and will allow you to see overall what's going on currently at the high school. Then you have PLTW. PLTW is our core curriculum that we use for every class that we teach. On there, I have listed some websites not only of PLTW itself, but what PLTW likes to share with parents, and some of the impacts of what PLTW has done in the past. Does anyone still need this slide, or can I move on? Here, I'm going to do the teacher thing. Give me a thumbs up if I can move on. Excellent. All right. So, here are some of the objectives that come with the engineering program. Now, our courses are rigorous. They are not easy, and they are designed to prep students for college, or whatever they do beyond high school. The main things that we focus on is problem-solving skills, organizational skills, and time management skills. All of those come into play in all of our classes. We explore different careers in engineering and in computer science, and we develop the soft skills that they will need to work in collaborative environments when they leave high school. However, here's a misconception I want to make sure that all of you understand. This program's goal is not to make a bunch of engineers. That's not it. We have students going into nursing. We have students going into the arts. We have students going into finance. In all of those fields, problem-solving skills, organization skills, and time management skills are going to come into play. Now note, we do have multiple students who become engineers, and multiple students who become computer scientists, but we are not a factory that just spits out engineers every 4 years. That is not our goal. Our goal is to make sure that your students have the skills they need to be prepared for whatever future they hold. That makes sense? Yes? Sweet. Alright, just to show you though, because there is a perk to going into engineering, this was held in 2022, and it shows the top 10 fields and what they pay out after with a bachelor's degree in each of these areas. And as you can see, we have engineering, computer science, engineering, 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 oh yeah, and engineering. So, while we have students who may not go into engineering, it's a pretty good field to make money. And as you can also see from this top 10, there are multiple engineering fields that you can go into. So, there are some perks if your student wants to go into engineering. Just a point to make. But if you want to actually graduate high school, no matter what DPS school you go to, you need to get 26 credits. It was this way in 2024, 2025. It's still this way this year. 4 of those have to be math, 4 have to be English, 4 have to be social studies, 3 have to be science, 1 has to be health, 1 has to be a computer science class, 4 PLTW courses, and 2 electives. Usually you want to get your world languages with that. Now, there are still room for a ton of extra classes that you can take in high school. But in terms of absolute requirements for what your student needs to get a diploma when they walk at graduation, these are the requirements. And for our program, those 4 major courses for the PLTW class is what they are required from us to graduate. That all makes sense? Good. Now, if you notice that one computer science class there that's sort of off on its own, it used to be a different requirement. I believe it was environmental science in the past, but now you need one computer science class. Lucky for your students, multiple of our classes count as your computer science credit. Now, ID is Introduction to Engineering Design, POE is Principles of Engineering, CSE is your Intro Computer Science class, CSB is the class above that, Cybersecurity is where you're actually stopping hacking and other things of that nature, and then of course CSA is our highest level computer science class. Now you do have TED and Adobe Visual Design as other options, but when you come into the program, ID is the first course that you take. So your students wouldn't have to worry about this computer science credit at all because they would get it immediately. Now, to succeed in our program, students must like and or be good at math. Look at the must there. Now, I put students into 4 categories. These 4 categories are true. The first 3 can excel in our program, and will usually excel in our program. The 4th, maybe not. First one, likes math, good at math. Second one, likes math, not great at math. Third one, great at math, doesn't really like math. And the 4th one, doesn't like math, isn't great at math. If you're in that 4th category, with the amount of math that is in this program, this may not be the program for you. That is just the truth of the situation. Both our freshman and sophomore level course are math intensive, so you have to at least have a desire for math or be good at math to get you through. Now, there isn't a math requirement, but if you look at these bulletins, a third of our students that enter this program are at math 3 or higher. Only a 6th start at math 3. Now, that doesn't mean that that 6th will fail in the program. It just means that they have a little bit of work to do to get caught up in math. Now, for our program, there are 3 foundational courses that you have to take. Every single engineering student has to take them. The 4th, your senior year, you get to pick what your last elective is. Now, all of our classes at least hold the level of honors when it comes to their weighting. The majority are AP weighted. Now, I will also mention this because all of our courses you can earn college credit through the Rochester Institute of Technology. Now, all you need to do to get this is get a good grade in the class, do the final exam, pay your credit, and then you have college credit that you can then transfer into whatever university you plan to go into. Now, I will mention the final exam for all of our classes is 20% of the grade. So making sure that you are well studied for those finals is very important. Now, to stay in the program, because once you're in, you obviously want to stay here, but not everybody does. You have to take those 4 courses. If you don't take those 4 courses and decide you're not going to take them, then you won't be in the program. You must pass all of those engineering classes that you are enrolled in. If you fail them, then you can't move on. You must maintain an exemplary discipline record and excellent attendance record. If you are in a bunch of fights and if you don't show up to class, this is a lottery. There are many people who applied to be here, and your right to be here can be taken away. So we expect, when you come in here, to treat this program with respect. And if that respect is broken, then we can ask you to leave. Now, remember, if you're in Riverside's district, you can still attend Riverside High School. That's not a problem. But if you came to us from a different district, then you will be sent back to that district and back to your base school. Any of these violations are grounds for revocation, meaning that you leave the program, you go back to your base school, and you have the rest of your high school's experience there. These expectations aren't the hardest in the world, so we're hopeful that if you decide to choose us, that you can follow these expectations to stay. Any questions about succeeding in our program or anything I have just told you? All right, we'll keep going then. So, the PLTW engineering program has been at Riverside since 2003. It has been around for a long time. I have only taken over as the programming coordinator recently, but it has been held up for a long time and is a very strong program. Now, the student body, Riverside High School, is the second largest high school in Durham Public Schools. Okay? It's actually the second largest school in Durham Public Schools. It has over 1,850 students. About a fourth of those students is from our program. So that gets you about a balance of what our program looks like. Like I said, all the students that attend both engineering and computer science classes. So keep that in mind as I'm about to go over them. All right. When you come in as a 9th grader, the first class you're going to take is Introduction to Engineering Design. You will take this your freshman year. Then, if you pass that, you'll move on to Principles of Engineering. Then Digital Electronics your junior year. And then, your senior year, you can pick between 4 classes: Aerospace Engineering, Civil Engineering and Architecture, Computer Integrated Manufacturing, and the one that isn't on here, AP Computer Science Principles. So your senior year, you can pick between one of those 4. But I'm going to go a little bit more in detail with these. Introduction to Engineering Design. This is the course that tells you you are not in middle school anymore. Not only is there a ton of work, but there is also a decent amount of math. This is a course specifically designed to see if you are capable of continuing on in the engineering program. If you're able to figure out your time management and figure out the proper workload, you can succeed in this course. And not only that, you get to work with a ton of cool equipment in this course. You get to work with 3D printers and everything of that nature. But it's not easy. Principles of Engineering. Hey juniors, how tough would you say Principles of Engineering is? So, Principles of Engineering is considered one of, if not the toughest course that we teach at Riverside. Not only is it extremely math intensive and is the equivalent of a college level physics course, but it is specifically designed to test you and to see how good of a student you can truly be. But I will say this, if you can make it through POE, the rest of the classes here aren't going to be as tough. So that is the true test on if you will do well in this program and if you will do well beyond this program, is POE. In POE, you get to build a bunch of cool things. You get to build a marble sorter that sorts marbles. You also get to do a full career report on one of the engineering fields. All of these are projects, because we have a lot of collaborative projects in all of our classes that are available, to allow you to learn and grow, because that is our goal in the end. Digital electronics, this is the same as your digital electronics that you would have in college. You'll learn how to breadboard, you'll learn how to solder, you'll have a big project called data birth. All of these projects, again, are to help you build and to help you grow. Still not easy. None of these are easy. All of these have rigor. When it says intensive math, that's all true. But again, like I said, after you take IED, POE, and DE, senior year you have a choice. Aerospace engineering, civil engineering and architecture, and computer integrated manufacturing, and AP computer science principles. Whichever one interests you the most, that's your final one, and once you do that, as far as the PLDW program is concerned, you can graduate. However, if more of these interest you, like you like aerospace engineering and civil engineering, you can take both. That's the beauty of this program. Since you're in this program, you can take all of these courses. You aren't restricted to just the 4. The 4 are only the ones that are required for you to graduate. But like I said, along with engineering, we have computer science. Computer Science Essentials, that is your freshman level computer science course. That's mostly about, hey, computer science is kind of fun. Why don't you take the harder courses? That's the main purpose of it. Cybersecurity, like I said before, teaches you about hacking and different ways to keep safe while on computers and how to prevent attacks on computers. AP Computer Science Principles, that is the level above Computer Science Essentials, and is about teaching basic coding in Python, along with learning how the internet works. And then Computer Science Applications is the highest level computer science course we offer at Riverside. And it's all about programming in Java. Now, I will say this. Notice the APs next to Computer Science Principles and Computer Science Applications. That is because they also have an AP test associated with them that students can take if they choose. They don't have to, but if they want extra college credit and extra ways for college to accept the credits they get from these classes, they are free to take the test. And as far as of right now, taking the test would be free. Now that may change based on what our lawmakers are trying to put in the House, but for now, all AP tests at Riverside are free. So there's no reason not to take it. All of these are considered electives. However, the only one that is an option if you want to graduate is computer science principles. The others are just free electives that you are allowed to take. Now, I talked about rigor. So that right there, that is technically it's a house project, but they made a cathedral. That was made in civil engineering. Down in the bottom left, you have an automata that was made in IED. And then in the bottom right, that lovely board is someone's physical date of birth project. Okay? The one in the top left, or top right, that's a lecture. But all of these are projects that students do. They take time and they take energy. So, unlike most other programs, you get your hands with the equipment and you use them to build things. You can see the physical results of your hard work and see it work, which is pretty good to see. Now, I will say this, we have so many projects in all of our classes. That forces students to learn how to collaborate with one another to allow them the opportunity to make sure that all of their projects go to completion. Okay? Now, that means that students will get to work with students that they like, and they'll get to work with students that they don't like. But either way, at the end of the day, they still have to come together and get the project done. These are soft skills that, unfortunately, in public schools right now, I feel like are being lessened. So, trying to build these up so that our students are able to collaborate with one another and with other people as they leave this school is a vital skill for all of our students to have. Does anyone have any questions about the courses that are available, or anything of that, or anything that I have just talked about? Yes.
So, I understand that the first two courses, the first one is an opportunity to discover whether your kid can finish the program. If the first class was IED,
Yes.
what is the percentage of students who take that course and fail, or are told to leave?
So for reference, I would say that we lose 5% attrition from IE. So not a big number, but still enough of a number to make note of it. Yes?
The 6 engineering courses you said are currently AP, so they're given AP credit even though they don't have an AP test. Is that going to continue?
Yes. So for reference, some of the courses I just mentioned, like IED is no longer AP, and SIM is not AP. But every other course is AP weighted, so for their GPA, it would be counted like an AP class, even though there is no AP test. It's because of the way the credit is done through RIT, and because they get college credit from the course itself. So it's the best of both worlds. You get AP weighting without having to take an AP test. Any other questions, or am I good to continue? Oh, yes? No. You don't get to skip POE. ID, POE, D. You know how many of them would have wanted to skip POE, okay? We're equitable, Yeah, I saw some hands in the back of the students who are recording. Yeah, you know how many students would. POE is a necessary learning block. But like I said, once you get through POE, you'll have that feeling that, these classes aren't as hard, they weren't as hard as POE. So, yes, it does have to be IED, POE, DE, and then your other courses. Alrighty, I think I'm ready to move on. Now, like I said, everything I've been talking about up to this point is about our program in particular, which is on the tech hallway of Riverside. However, we are attached to a school, so it's important that y'all know about all the details about Riverside itself. So, Riverside has been around for 35 years. It is a newer building comparatively to other DPS schools, but it has been around for a good amount of time. Now, just so you can see what a traditional block system looks like, I haven't included lunch in this, but I have included some classes that you could expect for some of your students to be taking. So, for this, you will have 4 classes each semester. Someone do some real quick math for me, one of my people in the audience. If you take 4 classes per semester, and you have an 8th semester of high school, how many classes can you take in total? There you go. However, plot twist, there's more. We'll talk about that in a minute. But there are opportunities to take more classes than that if you want to. But for a basic schedule, this is how it will work. For the first half of the year, you'll have 4 classes. Second half of the year, you'll have 4 classes. There may be times where you have less than that, but majority of the time, this is what your class breakdown will look like. One of Riverside's best strengths is between us and Jordan, we have one of the strongest AP programs in all of Durham public schools. As you can see, I have listed 20 different AP courses. Well, actually, I didn't list all 20, but I listed the majority of them. Not to mention, this does not include all of the AP credits that you receive from our classes, or AP CSP or AP CSA. These are all the other ones. Some ones to highlight is AP Calc. There's also AP Pre-Calc if you want to take that as well. AP English, AP Environmental Science, AP Stats is another problem. AP US Government and AP US History. Those are all popular APs that exist. There are also APs for each of the world languages, so another opportunity for students to learn and everything of that nature. If your student wants to take AP courses and wants to increase their GPA by taking AP courses, there is a plethora that they can take at Riverside. Now, some of you are coming from very small school environments, and some of you are coming from decently sized middle school environments. But here are some advantages of being at a large school. Number one, if you're interested in sports, we have all the main ones. Okay? We have football, we have basketball, we have soccer, we have track and field, not to mention cross country, we have field hockey, we have lacrosse, we have ultimate frisbee. We have a ton of different sports that are available and fully accessible for all of your students to play. We have dozens of extracurricular organizations that all are there for you to do things other than classwork. Durham Tech, and our CCP program. This is headed by a man named Tevin Jones. And if you want to earn dual enrollment credit while in high school, you can earn it through Durham Tech. They would replace some of your natural classes, so when I said you could take more than 4, that's why I said that. And you earn college credit directly through Durham Tech. We have had multiple students in the past who have earned their associate's degree while in high school from Durham Tech. So that once they graduated high school, they only needed 2 years left of school to get their bachelor's. This is an incredible opportunity that if your student is ready for it, they should take advantage of. And it's free, yeah! So another one of our departments that is very strong is our cultural arts department. Not only do we have one of the best choir teachers in all of the state of North Carolina, we also have a strong band program and theater program. Not to mention, if you look back there, we have a tech theater student because we also have a very strong tech theater program as well. And all of these things are programs that your student can take advantage of. During your time at Riverside, there will be many different enrichment opportunities that are available to you that you can take advantage of. Not only are there internships, but there are different events that go on that I will make sure to let all of you be aware of so that you can take advantage of all the things you can do in high school. Senior award ceremony. I know it's far away for parents and students, but when your senior year rolls around, there will be a full day to celebrate all of the seniors. After the award ceremony, which takes place in the morning, there's something known as senior celebration where you can just all relax and have fun. But the senior award ceremony, which I help a lot with, is just about celebrating every single senior and all the achievements that they have done within their time in high school. Other students don't have this, we do, because we want to appreciate you for all of your time here. Now, I put National Honor Society on here, but believe me, there's more than just one honor society. No, National Honor Society is one of them. It is the biggest one, and it is something you can take advantage of. But there's also National Technical Honor Society, Thespian Honor Society, there's a Spanish Honor Society. There are tons of honor societies that you can take advantage of because we have such a large student base. All of these are perks of being in a bigger school. If you were in a smaller school, some, if not all of these things would not be available. Now, because I mentioned it, I wanted to do a quick breakdown of some of the bigger sports and what percentage of engineering students have done both in the past. So, as you can see, the biggest one is cross country and track and field. But in all of these sports, we have a good amount of the participation. So if you're afraid that you can't play a sport and do the engineering program at the same time, I want to alleviate your fears. There have been many students who have done it in the past, and it is possible. And it is something that you can achieve. In fact, in our student panel later, we have multiple student athletes who can happily talk more about the balance of the engineering program and athletics. Does anyone have any questions about Riverside as a whole, or what Riverside brings to the table, as well as the engineering program? Yes?
I was curious about the situation with the lack of courses, because I heard that, there was, some kind of, something going on with that course.
Correct. So, in the past, we did have a teacher who was very good at teaching Latin. However, last year she resigned. So we are currently looking for someone to pick up that position. So in the past, yes, we have offered Latin, but for now, that is one of the few APs that is not publicly available to everybody. But good question. Yes? The whole school or the engineering program? So, I'm going to be really honest with y'all. Education is not the highest paying business in the world, and there is a lot of turnover. So, at Riverside as a whole, there has been a good amount of turnover. The usual timetable is 3 years. If a teacher is there for 3 years, they would have a higher chance of leaving. But, as far as the engineering program is concerned, as of recent, we had one person retire and a couple of people leave. However, by next semester, we will be fully staffed again, and all of our teaching positions will be stable. So, by the time that your students come to the engineering program, we will have a full staff that will be happy and willing to teach your students. Yeah? So, it's me and 5 other teachers. So 6 of us in total that teach all of our classes. We'll go over more of that in a minute. Yeah?
I want to get ahead of this going. You're coming to this. Are you going to cover anything about college counseling?
Yes.
How many new teachers are coming into the engineering program in the next semester?
Next semester, we are planning to have 2 new engineering teachers, as there are 4 of us currently here. All right? We good? Oh, sorry, I didn't see your hand.
Can you go back to last slide? How do I interpret these numbers? Is it 80%?
So that means that 71% of the people that were in volleyball were also in the engineering program. So 89% of the people in cross country and track and field were in the engineering program. That is the way to interpret those numbers. Yeah. So usually all of our classes are 20 students big, and usually we form teams of 4 in each group project. All right, I'm going to continue just to answer some more questions, and because we do have a lot to go over. So just to show you a little bit of the demographics, our program has been constantly growing in enrollment and how many students take each course. So that was our enrollment for all of our courses. This is total, by the way. In 2005 and 2006, and then, as you can see, it's just been steadily growing since 2020 to 2023. Now, we have roughly 465 students enrolled. The male to female distribution is about 67% male, 33% female. And then in the engineering field, it's about 88% male to 12% female. In terms of ethnicity, about 72% of our students are white, 11 are African American, 8 are Latinx, and 9 are other different ethnicities. I also put in the field as well, just so you can sort of get a perspective of that. All these numbers are represented with these graphs over here, so that is the gender distribution of male and female, and then that is the ethnicity distribution. Now, in terms of measuring success, we have been a distinguished high school for the past 8 years. Now, what that means is that we are in the top 10 percentile of our test scores for our EOCs at the end of the year. That means that when it comes to our EOC scores, we are one of the best schools in the nation when it comes to how our students do on our finals. Okay? So this is not an easy award to get, and we are very proud to have gotten it for so many years in a row. On our hallway, to represent that, there are multiple banners each of the previous years to show all of the different distinguishes that we have received from TLTW. Now, this is an old photo, so I will tell you that half of the people in this photo are still with the program, half of them are no longer with the program. So the person in the orange shirt in the back, his name is Mr. Oakley. He is our current IED teacher. Mr. Patridge, who is here today, he teaches digital electronics along with most of the computer science courses. And then I'm right there in the hat. I teach a majority of the computer science courses as well. The teachers that we're going to be bringing on have experience in both introduction to engineering design and computer science essentials. So those are the classes that are going to be covered by that. We also were lucky enough to bring in a teacher, Mr. Drugotz, who is now our designated POE teacher, although he is also planning on teaching more courses like aerospace in the near future. Now, most places and most schools have about 3 PLTW courses that are available. We have 10. That is a staggering number. And when it comes to this, in most other places, 33% of people complete 2 or more courses. Here, you are required to complete more than 2 courses. And if you truly wanted to, some people take 8 courses, if you really want to. Now, 70% of our students earn a proficient or higher on the end of course exam. So the way the end of course exam works, you have 4 levels. Proficient is the 3rd highest, distinguished is the highest. Okay? Majority of our students reach proficient. 90% to be precise. In the rest of the country, it's 70. We're 20 percentage points higher than the rest of the country. Think about that for a second. That's what our teachers bring to the table. We make sure that 90% of our students are proficient. Here's some features that you gain for being a part of the program. But before I go into that, we have 3 core values in the engineering program. These 3 values: being respectful. We give a lot of respect to our students. We expect them to give that respect back in turn in the many things we do. Being inclusive. We determine who comes in by a lottery. No matter who comes in, we're going to treat them the same, we're going to treat them with equity, and we're going to make sure that they succeed. and celebrating achievement, like with the Senior Awards Day. We celebrate achievement all over the place. Whenever stuff is going on that's positive, we want to make sure to celebrate it. In fact, and some of the career and development plans that we grow do this. We have Zello. This is something you start at the 9th grade level. This helps determine what career you possibly want to go into. Freshman first report card assembly. This is where I come into the room. I teach you how to measure your GPA, and I talk with you about how your freshman year is going. We have field trips. I'll go more in detail in a second, but we have field trips to many different places to allow you many different experiences. We have Speaker Day. Speaker Day is where we bring in speakers for a day to come and talk about their experiences to students. Obviously, we have different tests with the pre-ACT, ACT, and ASVAB. We have junior and senior interviews. This is something I'm going to be bringing back, where I talk with you your junior year and your senior year, just to see where your head is at, what colleges you're planning to apply to, what scholarships you may need, and the steps you need to take to get you there. And then, of course, we have the ACT Work Keys, which is a test to determine how ready you are to go into the workforce, and we have done very well on that test in the past. In fact, just to give a bit of a metric, ACT, everyone know what the rank for the ACT is, correct? Yes? What's the highest score you can get on the ACT? 36. Anyone have a guess what the average of our program is off the top of their head? 31. Close. That's high. That's really good. Now that doesn't mean that when you come into our program you're going to do great on the ACT. But what it means is that we teach you the skills to be prepared for a test like the ACT. Just a quick thing to show the metrics involved with our program. Now, for field trips, we've taken field trips to multiple different universities. NC State is one of them. Another one we've done recently is we've done field trips to Duke and their engineering program. Underwriter Labs is a field trip we do with all of our Introduction to Engineering Design students, where you get to go out and test different equipment out in that space. We have done field trips to multiple other places like GE Aviation and SAS in the past. All of these are different field trips that are available with different classes for you to actually experience the real world environment. Here are some pictures of different engineering field trips we've done in the past, and with them interacting with actual people in industry. Now, I will also mention that another perk is that we do have this field trip that we have at the end of the year. This is for team building for our students to really be good together. And to do this, we go to Kings Dominion and Carowinds, the U.S. National Whitewater Rafting Center, and Busch Gardens. And there we really focus on roller coaster research and going out and making sure we study roller coasters very well and all of the mechanical engineering that goes behind those types of rides. Now, these are some of the industries that are represented on Speaker Day and have been represented by Speaker Day in the past. Cisco, Duke Energy, North Carolina Railroad Company, IBM, Google. Recently we had someone who worked with the, I think it was the Tampa Bay Rays. We have had people who have worked at different universities, different ad agencies, and many different companies. And the other cool thing is that a good amount of these industry people also are alumni of Riverside, and this program, which means that they're coming back to pay it forward to help out future students. Now, this is both Speaker Day and field trips. We do have field trips throughout the year to all of these different universities, but like I said before, we have alumni who come back who are still currently in college that can talk about their college experience to all of our students. So it's another way to get a good amount of information out for students to understand. We also have had people in the past who do work for the government, so I did include this slide. Hyde, we have people who have worked for the EPA, City of Durham, and multiple other organizations. We bring in a lot of different faces for Speaker Day so that students are able to listen and get engaged with it. In fact, I'll share a quick story of a senior. She didn't know what she wanted to do, but her freshman year, we had someone come in who worked with dams, sparked her interest, and now she is going to apply to become a civil engineer just from hearing that on Speaker Day. So these are powerful tools that we bring to the opportunity. Now, I will say this, we do offer multiple different opportunities to not only build a community, but also work on your skills as well. TSA is one of our biggest extracurriculars. Once you join the engineering program, you're automatically a member of TSA. That allows you to compete in multiple different competitions with the stuff that you're learning inside the classroom. NC TAP, this is an alternative route to college. Instead of going to college, you would instead work under an apprenticeship in the field and earn a living that way, so you don't have to even go to college. Governor's School is one of our biggest opportunities. You can go for multiple different subjects. You can apply. You can get in. CyberStart is coding competitions that allow you to push your computer science skill. And then, of course, North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics, which is a private school that you would have to apply to, but building the skills from our program helps when you apply for NCSSI. Now, we have multiple community service opportunities and organizations that we work with. We've worked with the food bank in the past, diaper bank, Keeping Durham Beautiful, Mountain to Sea Trail, Habitat for Humanity. All of these are different organizations that we have worked with in the past to allow our students to also do community service. Not only because most of them are NHS and it's a requirement, but community service looks really good on their resumes when they go to apply for colleges. Here are some examples. But all of these are different opportunities for students to volunteer and help out. Rewarding, not required. You aren't forced to do this if you don't want to, but it does really help not only the community, but also build your own resume. Now, the Riverside Engineering Parent Action Council, I mentioned this earlier, they're called RHS. They meet monthly in the Media Center, and they support through different special events, the end of the year field trip that I brought up, hosting Speaker Day, bringing up multiple community service opportunities, annual welcome back events, they do teacher appreciation, and of course, senior celebration, which is another way we reward our seniors once they have gotten through everything in our program. By the way, Repack also sells these cool hats and hoodies, which all have Riverside Engineering on it. If you look around, you'll see a lot of different students wearing this is sort of a swag to show that they're in the engineering program. So that is available to you and on the Repack website if you want to buy it. All right. Before I go into student achievement, are there any questions about any of the information that I have shared up to this point? Before I move on, just to check. Yes?
Has there been any effort on behalf of Durham to try to get more referrals or different demographics?
So, yes, we are dictated by the lottery. However, one of the extracurriculars that is available is called the Society of Women's Engineering. Not only is that for female members of the engineering program, but they also bring in female speakers to help encourage and make sure that they are welcome and feel welcome into the program. That's also why inclusivity is such a big thing. Again, we are dictated by the lottery, but we make sure that whenever students are here, feel as welcome as possible, because I showed you the industry distribution. There is a clear gender imbalance in the engineering field. It exists. It's not a secret to anybody, but we want to try and make and empower as many female or minority students that we have in our program and make sure they feel welcome. Yes?
Are you following that up with being hired as teachers?
Yes, we try our best. But again, we are also limited by how many qualified people who are willing to come and teach our classes. So this is not going to sound great, but right now we have 4 white males. However, one of the teachers that we are hiring is, or plan to hire, is female to hopefully help. As you saw, we have a female teacher in the past, and we try to keep a female teacher in rotation for that specific reason. In terms of student achievement, you can see it every single year. The amount of college credit earned has steadily gone up. It went down a little bit because of the pandemic, but it's steadily gone back up. As you can see, a lot of college credit has come from this program. Now, I will mention that we do have multiple ways to celebrate our students. We have the Engineering Department Awards. These are to a senior who there's one male, one female, that is considered the best engineering student. That's awarded their senior year. Same for computer science. That's what the Outstanding Computer Science Student Award is. Also, we give medals for ACT WorkKeys Platinums or Golds. That's, again, ACT WorkKeys is a test, and if you score high enough, you get a medal on Senior Awards Day. We have the PLTW Achievement Award. This is if you earn enough distinguishes in multiple of your classes. And then the Distinction Award is if you earn enough distinguished and accomplished in all of your classes. We then have, like I said, multiple enrichment and other things with the CSM and government school. And then, of course, National Technical Honor Society, which if you have a 4.0 GPA in all of your CTE classes, and you have a 3.0 overall, and the teacher recommends you, you can get in the National Technical Honor Society. Now, another thing that we have done is that we honor students of the quarter. So these are students who maybe don't stand out a ton or don't stand, but still do great work in all of our classes. As a faculty, we come together, we form basically we figure out who of each class deserves this distinction, and we hang it up on our hallway. This is literally on the hallway that you have to walk down to get to all of our classrooms. The banners are right next to this. Now, in terms of the this was the class of 2025, just for some stats. 118 graduated out of a total class size of 412. That was of all of, so yeah, out of 412 students, 118 graduated. We had the valedictorian and the salutatorian, and I believe we had 9 out of the top 10. Oh no, sorry, we had the entire academic top 25. We had 6 people with a perfect 36 on their ACT, and we earned 75 platinum WorkKeys and 23 gold. These numbers speak for themselves. The main reason that I'm in this job and the main reason that I want to help your students is to reward them when they graduate and get honors such as this. Their hard work brings rewards, as it should. In terms of colleges, to explain that bar graph, 90%, over 90% of our students go to university. About 87% go to at least a 4-year. About 11% go to at least a 2-year. Then it breaks down to working in the military. Those are big numbers. We get our kids to university. That is one of our main goals, and that's one of our main goals with our students. That's what we're doing. Here's a breakdown of the multiple universities that we have sent students to in the past. Number 1 is NC State. Then you have UNC Chapel Hill, UNC Charlotte, NC, ECU, App State, so on and so forth. This is a college map from 2023-2024 of all the different universities that our students went to. All over the place. In-state, like I said, ECU, UNC Charlotte, NC State, UNC Chapel Hill, App State, NC A&T. Out of state, they've gone everywhere. Penn, Columbia, Princeton, Harvard, MIT, Air Force, Yale, Army, University of Chicago, Johns Hopkins, a ton of competitive schools. Like I said, out of state, Clemson, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, Pitt, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, they get into many different places. Before I turn it over to the juniors, because we have about 25 minutes left. Are there any final questions for me before I turn it over to the junior student panel? Yes. In the past, we have. However, because of new rules presented by DPS CTE, we are no longer allowed to. Yes?
What percentage of the students are free and reduced lunch?
All. So, all students at Riverside are allowed to have free and reduced lunch. Oh, what percentage have free and reduced lunch? I believe engineering students or all students? I would say about 60%, 50%. Yes. Last year, first choices only, I think we received about 170. So, all right. In that case, I would love to introduce our lovely junior student panel. I would like them to come up here, take their seats, and I will be walking around for you to answer questions. If you have any questions about the difficulties of these classes, about the experience as a high school student, or anything of that nature, these are the people to ask, not me. While I may be a teacher, I didn't go through the program. All of them are. Okay? Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So, yes, if they could please say their name, the middle school they went to, and any extracurriculars they're involved in.
Okay. Oh, perfect! Y'all can hear me now. Yay! I'm Natalie Baker, and I am part of the engineering program, as all of us are here. My extracurriculars, I do jiu-jitsu. I also climb competitively, and I'm training to be a Fab Lab ambassador.
Hey, I'm Tanner Weichel. I went to Carrington Middle School, and extracurriculars I do is engineering, Air Force, Junior RHS. I'm also on the football and wrestling teams.
My name is Riley Clausen. I went to Discovery Charter School, and my extracurriculars are tennis, ultimate frisbee. I do a bunch of clubs at school, and I do tennis.
My name is Timothy Arthur. I went to Discovery Middle School, and I lead a club at Riverside called Chorus Club. I'm on the mountain biking team, and I play piano out of school.
My name is Izzy. I went to Lakewood Montessori, and I am part of the Technology Student Association. I also run cross-country, indoor and outdoor track, and I do a couple of other clubs as well. Hi, my name is Sophie Korsivic. I went to Voyager Middle School. I'm also dual enrolled at NCSSM through the online program, but at Riverside, I help lead Society of Women Engineers. I'm a member of National Technical Honor Society, and I'm also a Fab Lab ambassador.
My name is Zoe. I also went to Voyager for middle school. I play tennis and I run track, and I also take online classes at the School of Science and Math.
My name is Soka Rosette. I went to Lakewood Middle School. I am dual enrolled at Durham Tech. I do sound design for technical theater, and I am one of the junior presidents for National Honor Society.
Hi, my name is Marjorie. I'm in the engineering program. I do Riverside swimming and tennis, and I'm also in the chorus program.
Hi, I'm Sam Chen. I'm currently in National Technical Honor Society, and outside of school, I'm also part of Scouting America.
Hello, I'm Jake Brennan. I have been part of the Riverside soccer team, tennis team, Ultimate, and I'm also the leader in our Mod UN, FBLA, and debate club.
Hi, I'm Z Phillips. I went to Triangle Day School for middle school, and I'm captain of the Ultimate Frisbee team.
Hi, I'm Mira River. I went to Lakewood Montessori. I'm in the band at Riverside. I'm the treasurer of Triumph, and I'm also in the NCSM online program.
All right, the floor is open to y'all. If you have a question, I'll come around with the mic. All right, we've heard a lot of good things, but in any business, there are weaknesses. From your perspective as students, what are the biggest weaknesses in this program?
Okay, so I did really enjoy my time in both IED and POE, but for about the first quarter of both of them, they're both really note heavy. You have to take a lot of pretty difficult notes in both IED and POE. It's a lot of busy work, but it really starts picking up in both fun and projects in the second quarters of both, which is the part that you really get to look forward to. That's what made me really enjoy my time with the class.
I would say the group projects are pretty tough, especially the first year when you don't really know anybody, and it can be hard trying to convince a bunch of ninth graders to get the motivation to work outside of school and actually put effort in. And also with a lot of projects, we're working with equipment and materials that are only supplied at the school itself. And so you really have to work on your time management and getting stuff done in school with your partners. The teachers can also be pretty tough on you, especially, I know you've heard of POE, and it's not necessarily the content that's super difficult, but more so the workload and the amount of pressure that gets put on from teachers.
Are you using AI, and if so, how?
AI.
We can't use it obviously for any sort of like cheating or for assignments, but I use it personally to take notes and to review for tests, and I find that really useful for me. Generating practice problems using AI or having it review notes is helpful for me.
We've also, more teachers are doing more and more like learning about AI, so I've definitely had classes where we've written essays and then had to have like ChatGPT write one also and then kind of like analyze that, so there's definitely increasing like learning about that and stuff.
Hi, how has being at the school influenced your future aspirations?
So as was sort of mentioned during the presentation, I'd say the majority of people at the engineering program actually don't go into engineering applications, but I would say it really does help build those skills that engineers have, like critical thinking and problem solving. And so personally, I'm more interested in humanities, and I remain to be that way, but I've seen a real value, even despite not wanting to go into those fields, of having the access to those resources. Like we have 3D printers, we have CNC machines which like cut things, we have laser printers. We have all sorts of cool skills and cool projects that have really helped me develop and learn a lot about those sorts of areas that I found really valuable.
Great thing about the engineering program is that it lets you do a lot of exploring of different things. So I took computer science principles and I really liked the class, and I also figured out that I don't really like computer science that much, and that it's probably not a good thing for me to go into as a career. And I also figured out that I don't want to be an engineer, and that the parts of my engineering classes I really like are the hands-on building stuff and the applied math. So it's led me to think about what are majors and careers I could have that are more math heavy that aren't necessarily engineering.
For me, personally, before I did the engineering program, I was not a big fan of math. And I also wasn't a big fan of coding. I had taken a little coding class and I wasn't really doing great in it. When I started this program, I realized that I was capable of doing complex math. It just took more time, and it kind of made me realize how much other things that if I just tried more and had given more of an effort to, I would be able to do.
Hey all, thanks for being here tonight and answering questions. This program is bonkers. Like I've been sitting here with my jaw dropped the whole night, and like with all of your activities and clubs and everything, what's your schedule like? And how are you doing everything? And also, how is everybody's mental health? Because it seems like a lot of pressure.
So for me personally, with ROTC to sports, I'll wake up around 6 to 6:30 in the morning to get to the school by 7:30. I'll do exercises for about an hour or so for ROTC. Then I go through the school day, which is from 9:15 to 4:15. After school, depending on the schedule, I'm just going with the football schedule, it would be practice from 4:30 till 7:30 at night. So I'd be 12 hours at school. I get home and eat, get a shower, whatever, and then I start homework for an hour or two. So it's about a 14, 15 hour day.
I just want to stress that it does not have to be like that. That sounds, I'm sure that's great for you. I personally could never. A few days a week, I do get up earlier. I mentioned some of the clubs I do, debate, FBLA, and Model UN. And so we do those earlier before school in the morning. But if you don't do those clubs, or those would just be a few times a week, you would get up, I would imagine, sometime around 8 to start school at 9:15. And then I do sports most of the year. So you are after school, but one thing I found is there's a lot of time during school that a lot of people take advantage of to get homework done. And so I really only spend about an hour or two every week actually doing homework at home. I'm able to get a lot of it done at school. And so I really enjoyed that. And so I've been able to really balance my extracurriculars with school. And so it doesn't have to look like 14 hour or 15 hour days. Although obviously it does depend on the classes you're taking.
I personally try to get all my homework done during school because I think you typically have time to get all of it done. I don't like doing homework at home. Surprisingly, I know. I sometimes have ultimate practice after school, but besides that, it's pretty easy. Just show up at sometime before 9:15 and leave at 4:15.
Yeah, I hope Tanner is doing okay.
Tanner, we all care about your mental health, okay?
Yeah, like, I'm in the marching band, and I'll have, some days I will have, like, you have to be at school for 8:15 or 8:30 for a club, and then I'll have practice till 6:30, or on a football game I'll be there later, but even then, I think it's not unreasonable to be like, you get home, you do maybe an hour or two of homework, and you have plenty of time to go to bed at a reasonable time and get your 8 hours of sleep. But I don't think most people are doing 14-hour school days. I think it's pretty manageable. It's maybe, like they were saying, with the hour, 25-minute classes, you can get more work during the school day than maybe you think you can going in.
Kind of weird
question, but do you guys drive yourselves to school, or do you guys have like your parents take you, or do you walk, or the bus?
Okay, so freshman year, raise your hand if you drove to school. Freshman year, yeah, no one, okay? Now, junior year, raise your hand if you drive to school. Okay, now, raise your hand if you had a parent drive you to school freshman and sophomore year. Raise your hand if you took the bus. Okay, so.
We're also like a very biased, select like set of the population now. If that makes any sense. Like, I'd say we're not super representative. There are a lot of people, I'd say a lot more people who take the bus or do other things than you see up here. I think that's important to mention.
Thank you all for sharing your time tonight. Being 3 years further ahead in your education journey versus the 8th graders here tonight, do you have any advice that you would have told yourself 3 years ago when you transitioned to high school?
Get your work done early. Just recently, something I started doing was I made sure that I got all my work done during the week so that I didn't have to think about school at all during the weekends. And I've been able to do that during junior year, which is usually your busiest year, and I would really suggest that to anyone. And also, getting all your work done during school. I haven't had to do homework in a while, and it's really nice if you just grind it during school and you don't waste your time.
I would take advantage, especially in freshman and sophomore years, of the opportunities we offer at Riverside, especially with things like clubs. It can be discouraging to show up and only see club leadership being people in their senior year of high school. In honor societies, a lot of those people are upperclassmen, but it is possible to do when you're an underclassman. So I wouldn't shy away from clubs and sports early on in your freshman and sophomore years, because it can set you up really nicely for leadership in the future.
I kind of said this a little bit earlier, but just kind of keep your eyes open for things that you like and that you don't like. You have to take a lot of different kinds of classes just for the graduation requirements. And so it's really good to, first of all, let yourself dislike things. Don't be like, oh, I have to like everything I do, because you don't, and it can be really good to know what you don't like. And also, let yourself like things that you didn't expect to like. Like if you are taking a new class, just kind of keeping your mind open, because you never know what you're going to figure out you actually really enjoy and might want to do more of in the future.
Know what your limits are. So I didn't actually learn this till a decent bit ago, but last year I took AP English 3, and I pretty quickly realized that I was not built for that. Like, the amount of homework I got in the first quarter of it, if I didn't have basically nothing else going on extracurricular wise, I do not think that I would have been able to keep up with all the work in the class and get the grade that I did. So it's really important just to know how much work you actually have the time and the brain power to get done.
That being said, my advice would be to take the hardest classes you can. Sorry, this is really contrary, and obviously, for a lot of people, they're not going to want to take some class that they're really not interested in, and I'm not saying to do it specifically for the AP credit or whatever, but it's one of the things that makes Riverside so special is that we do have a lot of great teachers who teach really high-level classes, and so by taking those harder classes, you get some really great teachers and can learn a lot.
Just specifically for 8th graders thinking about the engineering program, to kind of build off of what Izzy said, if you're considering engineering, I think the engineering program is worthwhile. I was considering engineering when I was in 8th grade. I'm not anymore, but I think I've saved my parents a lot of money that could have gone into a degree in something I ended up not liking, and I think it's good classes and good teachers and you're putting yourself in a group of peers who are motivated to work hard regardless of who wants to go to engineering and who doesn't. I think the opportunity that the engineering program gives you is worth trying if you're even remotely interested in engineering.
We've heard a lot about the quality of the PLTW classes and APs. Could you speak more to the other APs that you've taken, English, history, just the sort of quality and your experience there?
will say that they do vary sometimes depending on who's teaching it, and also which subject it is. I took physics class, AP physics, and that one was really good, but it was also a lot of rigorous stuff, but then I took AP World, freshman year, and that one wasn't as rigorous as AP physics was. So they are all quality and worthwhile for learning a bunch of different stuff, but they can vary in how good they are.
Another thing to go with that is that like there's a lot of variation. So I've had some really great AP teachers, and I've also had some classes where I really learned to study on my own, and especially in those cases, the AP classes can really still be good because it's about what you put into it. So if you study a lot for the exam in May, and if you like take daily notes for the class, even if you might not have your favorite teacher or it might not be your favorite subject, you really can like look back on it and have learned a lot in so many different subjects that are awesome.
So I've taken AP Lang and AP Lit. Shout out Miss Watson and Miss Bridge. They're not here, but I'm sure they feel it. And I just want to say Riverside has a really strong Lang program. All our teachers, they haven't had Mr. Smith, but he's also really good. So taking those AP Lang programs and the languages, and it's just really going to help you with your writing. And it also, I just want to say, it's just gonna help you with everything. Just preparing you for college, preparing you for all your other classes. You write a lot in your life, and it's good to know how to write well, and the teachers at Riverside are really good at teaching you how to do that.
I'd like to echo everybody else who said thank you to you guys for being here. It's really very nice to see so many of you. I wonder if you could talk about your relationships with students who are not in this program. How do you come to know students who are not in this pathway? And do you regard them as your good friends or just as people you kind of do band with or something else with?
I'm going to go ahead and start that off. My besties are not in the engineering program. And I think you have so many different opportunities to connect with people who are not in the engineering program. Of course, this is a great community, but you're going to have so many different contacts from just even your regular classes, not talking about your extracurricular classes, to get to know and to become ingrained with the rest of the Riverside community.
This is kind of on the flip side of that. I feel like from my experience, most of my connections have been with people in the engineering program or more broadly like on the AP class track. And I think that can be both a pro and a con because obviously like it's great to be surrounded by peers with the same goals as you who are like really academically motivated. But I also do feel like I don't have as many connections outside of the program, and it's kind of like a smaller school within the school, which obviously has both upsides and downsides.
I think I've heard several say, this has taught me that, hey, engineering is just not for me. Is there maybe a few who have said, hey, yeah, engineering is absolutely for me?
Personally, when I went to the program, I was kind of ambivalent on whether or not I liked engineering. I know I just liked like the general concept of STEM, but like now, 3 years into it, I'm like, yeah, I love engineering. I like doing physics and I like learning about electronics. So I personally absolutely want to become an engineer through my experience in the program. So
I came in wanting to do engineering, still want to. I think I want to do aerospace. I will have taken 7 engineering classes by the end of this year. Engineering and CS, it's a lot of fun.
So I came in knowing absolutely nothing about engineering, honestly nothing about this program. Like I never even came to this information session. So it was definitely a bit of a shock. I knew I was pretty good at science and math, but it's kind of interesting because the engineering field I'm interested in pursuing isn't even offered as a class here. It's biomedical engineering, and we don't have that here. But through organizations like NCSSM and being able to take classes through there, I'm able to have such a strong background in already knowing a lot of the information that they're teaching, but also applying it to like a completely different realm of medicine. And so it's really exciting because they'll teach you what you need to know basic-wise, and then from there you're able to translate it to your actual interests.
All right, y'all, it is 7:30. I will say myself and the majority of the student panel will be here if you have any last lingering questions. If you do have any questions, please feel free to email me at mike_dibble@dpsnc.net. I will be happy to try and email answer as many of your questions as I can. But with that being said, thank you all so much for coming out to this information session. I hope this enlightened you on multiple things with the DPS lottery and our program, and hopefully we'll be seeing some of these 8th graders in IED next year. But let's give a big round of applause to all of our wonderful juniors who took time out of their day to come to talk to y'all. Let's also give a big round of applause to our junior in the back who has been recording and all of our videos the entire time. Thank you all so much for coming out and have a wonderful night.